Hello, hello. Happy Monday. Welcome back to another Game Plan Monday, friends. This week we've been talking about reflecting and using reflection in our daily habits. And if you've ever felt like your planner is just one big to-do list that never ends, this one is definitely for you because reflection isn't about what went wrong and it's not about what went right. It's about noticing all of the things that you've accomplished and done and learned over your week's time. So this week we're talking about the power of reflection in your planning. And I have said this a bazillion times before. It doesn't matter what you plan or how you plan. If you're not taking time to look back at how it worked or how it didn't work, then you are missing the point of the whole planning process. You know what, friends, no one tells you about business is that wins are very easy to forget if you don't write them down. And most of us jump straight from one week to the next. We have new goals, we have new lists, we have new chaos, and we don't take that time to actually celebrate the wins that we had in our week. And it's so important because when we take time to actually look at all of the things that went well, we get to recognize the things that we are learning and doing on a regular basis. So when I first started doing weekly reviews, everything in my business changed. Now, I am speaking from experience because I was one of those people who was like, reflection, it's not going to help anything. And I started doing it every Saturday evening. I sit down with my planner. I look back at the things that went well, the things that didn't go well, where my energy was drained. And not just what I finished, but where I felt that I was in the flow, recognizing my energy levels, recognizing what days of the week I plan best and execute best. Because reflection isn't just about fixing things, it's also fueling the momentum for when you are going to be doing the next thing. I used to think that reflection was optional. Obviously, I've talked about that already. And now it's actually a great amount of business data. So when I look at my Rapid Log, because I use Rapid Log, not an actual planner, each week, I ask myself a couple of questions. What worked? What didn't work? What drained me? How I felt about the week. And that's how I discover that some tasks were only there because other business owners were doing them. Comparison, friends, it can trick us into copying strategies that don't actually fit into the season of our lives or our own personal goals. And when we take time to reflect, we start to make decisions based on those results, not someone else's highlight reel or what they're doing that's serving them. I have a couple of things that I have taken out of my business because it's just extra busy work and I don't have time for busy work when I want to accomplish my own goals. So today I brought with you guys a couple of things that I want to share. Number one is the actual insert that Tool of 12 has called the Rest and Reflect insert. And then I'm going to show you how I kind of use that in my own personal Rapid Log. So inside the Rest and Reflect insert, if you want something done for you, it's got all of these amazing coloring pages right here on each page for you to be able to go back and color and look through. I do have a member who absolutely loves, and shout out to Lisa Dondi. She utilizes this as a way to relieve stress in the middle of a busy day. She has colored pencils with her and she will just take 5 minutes when things are really stressful to do a little bit of coloring. And at the end of the week, she'll know how much stress level she's had by how much coloring is actually complete because she does that when she gets stressed. And it's not like 20, 30 minutes. It's like 2 to 3 minutes. She'll just color a little bit for 2 to 3 minutes. Great stress reliever activity. On the other side of the Rest and Reflect insert is the actual prompt part. So here are the prompts. The first one says wins and gratitude, 3 things that went right this week. And you list out those 3 things. The next box says emotions and energy, what drained me and what gave me joy or brought me energy. In this box, on the bottom, it says systems and self-care. How did I take care of myself this week? On the other side, what surprised me this week? What did I complete that I had planned and what didn't get done and why? And then on the very bottom, looking ahead, something I'm excited about. So I actually take those same questions and add them to my own planner each week. And this is my rapid log. For any of you who have been following me for a hot minute, I have been doing rapid logging for the last 4 months. It has changed my life astronomically, mainly because I spend a lot of time in here, not just doing the reflection part or just planning, but also building a memory keeper for me to be able to look back on. There's lots of different insights that I've found. There's also pictures, things that have happened throughout the course of my week, memories that I want to cherish forever. And I get to do a little bit of scrapbooking, a little bit of journaling, a little bit of loving on the things that are important to me right inside my rapid log. Now, does planning happen in here? Absolutely. Do I love that all of my parts and pieces are in one place? Again, absolutely. So this is my weekly review. Again, this is actually the one that I did on Saturday. 3 things that went right this week. Vendor Vault Phase 1 nearly complete. These are some of my 12-week goals. Workshop ideas coming into focus. And I actually got some winterizing done outside before the weather got too nasty. And this is something that I do every single Saturday. I just take those questions and then I answer them and be able to get myself excited about the week or realize the things that I did that didn't have any value to my business or to my own personal life. And I'm like, I should probably set that aside because I don't necessarily need it. After I get finished with this, I utilize ChatGPT to, I've written myself a personal assistant who kind of takes everything that I've talked about over the course of the week and they summarize those things. And she gives me a summary, gives me ideas of what I can work on next week based on the information that I shared. Also gives me a nice reminder of the things that I need in my personal life that I may not miss because I'm just skimming the surface and not really going super deep. And then she also gives me a quote for the week. So I'm going to go ahead and share what the summary is because that'll kind of fill in the blanks of all of this stuff over here. So this week's insights, I made strong progress on major projects, Vendor Vault Phase 1, my 12-week goals and workshop prep. Even with low energy and physical exhaustion, I stayed consistent and productive when it counted. Health challenges reminding me that mindfulness and self-compassion matter just as much as getting things done. Refocusing my approach to goal setting reignited my excitement for both business and personal growth because I made a couple of changes to my goal setting this quarter. Focus for next week, wrap up the final pieces of Vendor Vault Phase 1, continue refining workshop plans and content, protect my energy by practicing mindfulness instead of self-criticism. You would have seen a lot of that if you would have read all of those things. And then keep working toward my business and super secret goals because I have some super secret goals that I'm working on. I want to pull up this next piece. You can also see kind of putting things together. I'm going to put this right here because y'all don't need to see that part. But I wanted to share this little insight that Sage gave me because the reminder to self was a little bit out there for me. I was like, I don't really understand what that means, but reminder to self, mindfulness isn't about doing less. It's about being fully present in what you choose to do. And so I wanted to go ahead and read you guys that quote. I have it on my ChatGPT and I asked her, I don't really understand what this means. Can you give me some context? And she said, it means that being mindful doesn't necessarily require cutting your task list in half or slowing your pace to a crawl. It's about how you show up for the things you do, choose to spend your time on. In practice, that looks like when you're writing content, you're just writing, not worrying about the laundry or what's next. When you're with family, you're really there, not half scrolling or thinking about tomorrow's to-dos. When you rest, you let yourself rest without guilt or running mental checklists. So it's not do less, it's do what matters with your full attention. That kind of presence makes each action more effective, meaningful, and calmer, even on your busiest weeks. And I thought that was so important because, again, that reflection part matters 100% when we're thinking about all of the things that we have going on in our day-to-day. Are we legitimately being present for the activities and the actions and the people that are in our life. People might be your own family, or people might be the people that are following you on social media and that you are interacting with on a daily basis, that you are trying to share your message with. So one of the other things that I like to do as well is use a goals and habits tracker. So I have this amazing rest and reflect insert that I can use, or I use the, let me find it here. I use the goals and habits tracker. Now, I'm not a huge lover of, let me go ahead and listen. I'm not a huge lover of the horizontal version, but I haven't learned to accept it because this is what is available to me, right? So this is part of the art of planning and journaling. This is the pumpkins one, and I'm getting ready to start setting up my November one in the birds, in the sweater birds, and utilizing this portion right here, which is the goals and habits tracker. So when you track consistently, you start to see patterns. And this is where I started to notice that I wasn't doing particular things in my business. And you can see this right here, blog posts right now. They were not really serving me. So I did them in the first week, and then I've crossed them off for the last 2 weeks. I've conserved my energy for other things. And that has been a huge game changer for me. You actually start to notice what works instead of guessing each week. And that's when your planner turns into a productivity system. It allows you to be able to really get in and see the things that are making the difference in your business or in your life. All right. Let's be real. Not every week is pretty. Sometimes reflection begins, and you bring up some really hard stuff that you don't want to talk about or that you don't want to recognize. And maybe this week was messy and maybe nothing went as planned. And the thing with reflection is that it's not about judgment. It's about grace, even noticing what didn't work in progress. Like the trees shedding their leaves, letting go is part of the growth process when we are in the midst of learning and growing. So if you're starting at a half-finished to-do list, that's definitely okay. Reflection means that you showed up, and next week you'll show up smarter, whatever that looks like for you. So this week, before you dive into planning, take time to pause, look back at what you did over the course of the last week. Notice the wins, refine what didn't work, and give yourself a little credit. You're growing your systems, you're growing your confidence, and this is definitely something that you should think about incorporating into your planning if you haven't already. So go ahead and drop in the comments one win you're proud of from this week and share that with this planning community. Say hello to Sherlock, and hope you guys all have a fantastic week. See you soon, friends.